welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to start talking to you guys again about Europe this summer. It is coming up so fast. What is it today? I'm recording right now on the 22nd of April, so Europe summer, some of you guys could literally be leaving in May. Like technically that's almost summer. So it is coming up really, really fast. And in that regard, I have put together a list of 10 things that you need to prepare before you leave for Europe this summer. I've got a couple notes on my laptop, but I'm also just gonna chat with you guys about the 10 most important things that you need to prepare. And in true jet setting Jackie style, this is not going to be the most polished video you've ever watched, but you can guarantee that I do know what I'm talking about because I am going back to Europe for my 4th summer this year in a row. After COVID, I spent my first Europe summer working in a bar in Eos, Greece, and my life has just kind of like snowballed from there to be your Europe summer travel bestie. So without further ado, let's get into the first tip. Okay, so number one, this is a really small but important thing that you can do before you leave for Europe this summer. Go and get yourself a spare bank card and also make sure you tell your bank that you're traveling. So firstly, if you don't have 2 bank cards already, go and get a second one for your account. That way, if anything happens to your first bank card, which you would be surprised how many people I've known who have lost their bank card, they've left it somewhere on a night out, they've lost their handbag, the ATM has eaten their bank card, which has happened to a lot of people I've known as well. And if you don't have a spare bank card, it is just so frustrating because you can't get cash out. If restaurants or cafes or places you go, if they don't take Apple Pay and you need a physical card and you don't have one, it's just really annoying. There's also some places as well where you need to like put a physical card down as like a deposit when you're like at a beach club and stuff. So have at least one spare bank card with you. Now, speaking of bank cards in general, there are definitely some that are better than others for traveling. I put a list here of the ones that I talk about all the time on my social media that are really, really good for traveling if you don't have one of these already. And even if you do have a good Australian bank that you like to use when you're traveling, it can be a really good idea to also get either a Wise or a Revolut account, especially if you are traveling with people who aren't from Australia, you meet people in hostels. Having Wise or Revolut just means it's so much easier to transfer people overseas. I originally got Revolut because all of my Irish friends when I was living in Greece had Revolut, so you know, if we went out for dinner and we split it, it was just easier. But either Wise or Revolut are pretty good, and transferring even between Wise and Revolut, the fees aren't that high, so it's kind of fine. I do usually use ING as my bank card when I'm traveling. However, you can't transfer people to an international bank account, so that's why I also have a Revolut account. Okay, number 2 thing that you need to prepare before you go to Europe this summer is getting yourself travel insurance. It can be a pretty decent expense if you are going for a while. You know, sometimes I've paid like $800 for travel insurance because I've traveled for like 4 to 5 months at a time, but it is 100% necessary. There are 3 things that I always look at when I get travel insurance. The first one is basically always getting comprehensive. You can compare the policies like medical versus comprehensive, but I always go comprehensive because there's a lot of things that are not covered in the medical one that I want covered in the comprehensive. So especially like luggage and things like that. I have had issues where airlines have like lost my bag for a while. I remember turning up to Croatia to go on this sailing trip. I had nothing. So at least if you have comprehensive travel insurance, you can claim for things like that, and they actually give you money for delayed luggage as well. The second thing to look at, which is really important when choosing which travel insurance company to go with, is any optional extras that you need. Especially this time, I just bought my travel insurance before I'm currently in Bali, before I came to Bali because I'm gonna go straight to Europe. And I was looking for cover that not only included scooters, because I'm on the back of a scooter here in Bali and I'm driving a scooter, but also ATV cover because I have my own ATV in Eos, Greece, and I drive it. And a lot of travel insurance policies don't include ATV cover because obviously they're quite dangerous. So I ended up going with Budget Direct because I could add ATV cover and like pay extra, and I also paid extra for the scooter package for when I'm in Bali. Other things that you could look at including are like any other adventure sports, skiing, dental. I always like having dental cover because I love my teeth and I have a lot of issues with them. So I always want to have dental cover if anything does happen too. One time I chipped my front tooth in Greece and I immediately was able to get it covered. It was fine. Okay, number 3 thing you always need to do when you're choosing what travel insurance to get is please read the PDS. I know it sucks, but you really need to know what the terms and conditions are of your travel insurance. Also, a lot of the time, if you have been drinking or you say that you're like on a night out or drinking, they will not cover you. So if you're ever gonna claim, do not say that you've been drinking. I'll put a list here of some of the travel insurance providers that I've used. To be honest, I don't really have an opinion on the difference between them. I just look at what is the best price for where I'm going at that time. I think they're all much of a muchness, to be honest, and they all have like some good and bad reviews. So I would just go with what the best price is. I also always put my excess as high. So like I pay like a $300 excess if I do have to claim, because then my policy is cheaper at the start, but you can choose. You can either like do a low excess, you can have $0 excess. So if you claim, you don't have to pay anything, but then your policy is more expensive when you buy it at the start. Okay, on to number 3, something you really, really need to go and get yourself if you don't have it before you go to Europe, Get yourself a good power adapter. I usually like to go into a store like Kathmandu or get a good one on Amazon, make sure it has good reviews. Kathmandu always have done me real well with their power adapters. I have forgotten before though to bring a power adapter for certain countries in Europe because obviously some of them are different. And then you get there and you have to buy one like on the streets that converts to Australian, and they suck. They are literally the worst. They suck. They don't fit in the wall. They fall out. They start like sparking and stuff. It's really annoying. So check what countries you're going to and check what power adapter to take. Maybe even take 2 to be safe. And speaking of taking 2 power adapters, a very good way around this and something I always travel with is an Australian power board. So that way you only need 1 adapter, you plug your power board in, you can plug all your Australian appliances in. This is also really handy if you're going on like a group tour or you're sharing rooms in hostels and stuff, because you are going to be loved by everyone if you have a power board and then everyone can plug in all their stuff at once. Because I've been on Kentucky tours, there's like 4 girls in a room and there's like 1 PowerPoint. And it's like, well, what the fuck are we gonna do? We need to charge our phones, cameras, hair straighteners, like everything. And there's 1 PowerPoint. Bring a power board. Oh, and one last one as well that you're gonna want in the power segment. A really good portable charger is worth its weight in gold when you are traveling. There are a lot of days that you're gonna be like on planes and trains, you're gonna be on your phone all the time because you're traveling. Or like if you're out exploring for like the whole day, you're like walking all day, taking photos, taking videos, and you like wanna call someone back home, your phone is gonna die. And I've had a lot of times as well where I'm like out exploring for the entire day, then we get back to the room, we've got 1 hour to like get dressed for dinner and go out, and my phone like won't charge and it's literally got like 20% left. So good portable charger as well. Number 4, very important thing you need to sort out before you go to Europe is how you're gonna have data. You've got a couple options of how you're gonna have data. The first one is that you can just use your Australian phone provider overseas, but you are gonna need to make sure you're on a phone plan or a phone provider that allows you to do this. If you're with Vodafone, you can pay like $5 a day. Optus used to be $10 a day. I think they're now $5 a day. Some phone plans, however, don't let you do international data at all, so you need to look this up before you go. Option 2, which is what I always do now, is getting a travel SIM card before you leave Australia. For all of my last Europe trips, I've used SIM Corner. There's a discount code here if you want to use it. I have found they are the most reliable, they're the easiest, they're also the cheapest. Air Arlo and Holofly work out way more expensive, especially Air Arlo. That is so much more expensive. I see people using it and I'm like, why are you using this? If you use a SIM Corner SIM card, they're so much cheaper. And I also don't buy unlimited data anymore because unlimited data, there's no actual unlimited data plans. It's that you get 2 gigs a day, and after you use 2 gigs a day, it goes really slowly. So I actually prefer to buy like a 70 to 100 gig SIM card because obviously I work on my phone, I'm on it all the time, and I don't want my data to be slow after I've used 2 gigs. This is also really important if you're like on a train or something and you're watching Netflix and then it goes really slow because you've used 2 gigs for the day. When you buy a travel SIM card, you can either get yourself a physical SIM or an eSIM. If you get a physical SIM, you're gonna need to get it mailed to yourself in Australia before you leave. So at least leave a week in advance to get it. But if you get yourself an eSIM, which is what I always use now because they literally get sent straight to your email address, right? So you get an email, you get a QR code, you literally scan it at the airport and you have data as soon as you get there. I just prefer this now, it's so much easier, but it's totally up to you which one you want to use. So something else you are going to want to think about if you do buy a travel SIM card is that you're still going to want to have access to your Australian phone number if you can while you're away. So what I do, I have my Vodafone eSIM in my phone, I just switch it off, and then if I need to get a text to like get into my banking or something, I just switch my Vodafone SIM back on and just use it then and then turn it back off. If you are doing it this way, just don't turn on your data roaming when you turn on your Australian SIM and you won't get charged $5. So you can still get text messages to your Australian number and not pay the $5 a day. So option 3 for having data overseas, which I have done previously, it's just kind of annoying, is buying a SIM card when you get there. This generally does work out as the cheapest option. However, you have to wait till you land at the airport, get out, go and find a SIM card. I have had issues before where I bought a SIM card in Greece and the app was in Greek, so I couldn't top up my phone unless I found someone who spoke Greek, which was extremely annoying. I've had people on like Kentucky tours and stuff who didn't have a SIM card. We like land in London at 10 p.m. that night and the tour starts at like 6 a.m. the next day, and they didn't have time to go and get a SIM card. They like didn't even think about it. So the first few days, because we were so busy, they just didn't have any data, which is obviously extremely annoying if you're spending 8 hours on a bus. All right, number 5 thing you need to do before you leave for Europe this summer is decide if you're gonna take a backpack or a suitcase. I like to describe this as whether you'd like to be shot on by a bird or whether you'd like to step in dog poo. They both suck, okay? No option is a good option. Backpacks suck, suitcases suck. You need to choose your heart, okay? I am personally 100% a suitcase girl. I've tried a backpack once and I fucking hated it. It hurts your back, your shoulders are so sore, you're so sweaty. And my favorite part of having a suitcase is that if you're struggling, right, you're at the train station, you're struggling to get up the stairs, guys are always like, do you want some help with that? And I'm like, I would love some help with that. But if you're struggling with a backpack on, they're not gonna like take your backpack off and carry it. but you can always convince someone to help you with your suitcase if you are struggling. So that is one reason that I always choose a suitcase. And the second reason is that I really like being able to open it out like this and see all of my stuff. Some backpacks do this, but some don't. Some you have to literally pull everything out. I've been traveling with girls before who have to pull everything out of their backpack to find stuff. So I always choose a suitcase. Two favorite brands of suitcase at the moment. My big one is American Tourister. I've had heaps of these, they're really good. Always get the suitcase with 4 wheels so you can like walk it along beside you. It's actually not too bad when you're just walking, it's just when you have to carry it that it really fucking sucks. But my carry-on suitcase is this tiny brand from Australia. It's called Tosca. I had the same Tosca suitcase, guys, for literally 5 years. It went on like 100 different flights with me. It literally cost me like 80 Australian dollars at this random store, and I am obsessed. The company actually sent me a new one because I did message them and I was like, guys, I'm obsessed with your suitcase. It's leopard print as well. And they were like, we'll send you a new one. Like, it was just the zippers were starting to break. So yeah, Tosca is my favorite carry-on, and then I always take American Tourister as my big one, mostly because they come in pink. All right, number 6, we're gonna talk about what medication that you need to prepare before you go to Europe, and I always go overboard on this and then never fucking use it. Like, do you know what I did? Not last year, the year before when I went to Greece, I was like, I don't drink greens, right? I fucking hate drinking greens. I was like, I wanna start drinking greens. Like, while I'm drinking every day in Europe, I wanna like drink my greens. I took a whole fucking thing of greens powder. I took one taste of this thing. It tasted like ass. It was disgusting. So I gave it to my friend. I carted it all the way there and then gave it away anyway. So if you don't use it at home, you won't need it in Europe, or you could always just go and buy a lot of things at the pharmacy. However, firstly, if you have any medication you absolutely need. So when I was on the pill, for example, you want to take enough pills to cover you, maybe even a few extras just in case like anything happens and you lose them. Guys, I'm trying to film this fucking video, and can you hear how fucking loud it is out there? Birds, bugs, construction, Bali life. All right, guys, we're going to try and compete with the sound, and the hotel just covered what we towels and toilet paper. So we're gonna put those up there and we're gonna keep going. If you do have like special ADHD medication or anything you really need, it's good to have a doctor's certificate with you. Sometimes at borders and stuff, they can stop you depending on what type of medication is. So make sure you have a doctor's certificate with you for anything that you need. For the girlies, if you are prone to it, I would bring some thrush medication with you. And if you can get your hands on some and you are prone to UTIs, I would bring some UTI medication with you, because it's like Australia and lots of parts of Europe, you can't get UTI medication over the counter. You have to like go and see a doctor, and that is so frustrating when you are traveling, trying to like make a doctor's appointment and get stuff. So if you are prone to UTIs, I would try and bring some from Australia. Obviously, you're gonna want the regulars like Panadol and Nurofen, motion sickness if you do get motion sickness. And one other thing I would recommend you definitely bringing is like throat lozenges from Australia. These are like the best of the best. Like, anyone has diff lamb and stuff, people go fucking nuts. It's like candy over there. So bring some good stuff with you, because you are probably likely to get Kentucky cough and get sick. If you don't know what Kentucky cough is, it's just Europe cough. It's basically just when you haven't been sleeping and you haven't been eating good and you've been drinking and you get sick. And everyone always has a sore throat. So if you can, bring some lozenges from Australia too. Number 7, super important to check before you leave, is thinking about the Schengen 90-day rule, visas, your passport, all of that fun stuff. The Schengen 90-day rule is only going to be a problem for you if you want to go to Europe for more than 3 months. If you're going for less than 3 months, you're sweet. Don't worry about it. Once you enter the Schengen area, just stay in there for less than 90 and get out. If you do want to go to Europe for more than 90 days, you are going to need to make sure that you don't spend more than 90 within the Schengen area. So a little explanation of this, I will put some information here too. Basically, in 180 days, so 6 months essentially, you can spend 3 months in Europe in the Schengen area. There are a few countries, I'll put them here, that are not in the Schengen area. So what you can do is spend time in the Schengen, go out and then come back in. However, it does not reset. If you do your like 2 months in Schengen, then you can go out and like go to the UK, for example, for a month, then come back, you would still only have a month left. You need to be really sure there's online calculators that you can use to calculate your 90 days. Make sure you're not over. I had a friend last year and he saved 1 extra day just because he calculated wrong, and he got charged like 600 euros. The worst thing that can happen is they can like blacklist your passport, and then every time you try and get in, they like question you heaps and they might not let you in. So you don't want to overstay. If you are going to the Schengen area, you don't need a visa. The UK, however, has just introduced a visa for Australians. It's like one that you just apply for online. It is fine. It's not like a proper visa that's going to take you ages, but you do need to apply for this before you go. The Schengen area, at this stage, you don't need a visa. There was talk of them bringing one in this year, but they haven't done it yet. Just check that depending on when you're watching this video. But as of the 22nd of April, there is no visa yet for Australians going to Europe. Another thing you are going to need as well is 6 months validity on your passport, and Australian passports, as I know because mine is coming up to being expired, can take 6 weeks to come back unless you pay extra money. So you are also going to want to sort this out in advance. Okay, number 8, I'm going to go get my bag for you guys and show you what I take when I'm like in the big tourist cities and stuff. So BRB. Okay, so this here is my travel bag whenever I'm in Europe or when I was in Japan, like traveling around Tokyo and stuff. This is what I have on me every single day. This is literally from Missy Empire. It's a dupe of the Uniqlo one. Basically, the reason I love this for safety is that it has a zipper. Okay, you always want to have a bag with a zipper because this is one of the best ways to not get pickpocketed. My second best way is that when you are walking through a busy area, put your hand over your zipper. I religiously do this whenever I'm walking through a crowd or anything, if I think I could get pickpocketed. So in any big city and stuff, put your hand over your bag like this. That way they can't unzip your bag. And something I'm really bad at, but I'm trying to learn, but you guys could be better than me. Don't carry your phone in your hand, especially if you're in London and stuff. Don't have your phone out like this. Wait, BRB again. I'm gonna show you guys what I have on my phone to kind of help with people stealing my phone. So I have this wrist strap here on my phone. I've never actually had to test it of someone pulling it out of my hand. But my first thought is that they might see this and be like, nah, we're not gonna pickpocket her because she has this on. So if I'm like this, they know that like there's last resistance there. Or B is that if they do try and pull it, it just gives that last bit before they can get it out of my hand. I also made this charm here in Bali. There's a shop. If you're interested, let me know in the comments and I can show you. It has my name on it. It was like just a fun little activity that I did with myself. Also, one last bit of info on this bag because I'm obsessed with it for traveling. You can get the Uniqlo one or this Missy Empire one, or there's heaps that are the same. These are just so big, guys. They fit so much stuff in them. Like literally you can pile that much stuff in here. I fit my phone, my camera. I can put a water bottle in here. Sometimes I put a jacket in here if I'm cold. Like these are just the best for carrying around because you can fit everything that you need for the entire day. Oh my gosh, we're up to number 9. How exciting. So number 9 is to make sure you check the luggage requirements of every flight on your Europe trip, okay? Because when you go from Australia to Europe, a lot of like the big flights, if you're on like Qantas, Qatar, Etihad, whatever, they give you like 30 kilos of luggage, which obviously awesome. You can pack all your stuff. However, a lot of internal flights only give you 20 kilos. Like you can't even add 30 kilos. I've had this problem so many times where I've had so much stuff and I literally cannot add weight to those tiny internal flights. It's so annoying. So check the luggage requirements of every single one of your flights and stuff. Sometimes you're like Kentucky tours and stuff say you can only have so much weight as well. I've actually heard of them weighing people's bags. I've never seen it, but I have heard of it. Another thing to think about as well, if you're doing any like Sal Croatia, Sal Turkey, anything like that, these rooms are fucking tiny, okay? Like you cannot fit a big suitcase. Like my giant suitcase, I have like the biggest size of American Tourister. It literally probably wouldn't fit in a boat like that. Like they are so small. So just think about what you've got going on before you decide how much luggage to pack and just pack less. You always will be like, I did not need to pack this much stuff. So just pack less, always pack less. And number 10, which is something that I also really need to work on myself. So don't worry, it's not just you if you're also like this, but lower your expectations. Lower your expectations of the entire trip, lower your expectations of what you're gonna get done, lower your expectations of how much fun you're gonna have, because otherwise you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. And I'm not saying that your Europe summer trip is not gonna be the best time of your life, it is, but there's a lot of parts in there that are gonna be shit, right? Like the big travel days, they're gonna suck. You're gonna have delays, you're gonna have people that you don't like. You're gonna check into hostels or hotels and be like, I hate this place, I wish we stayed somewhere else, I wish we did something else. You're gonna turn up to a city, I've done this before, so this is how I know. I've turned up to a city with like a fucking Excel sheet of all the things I wanted to do, and then things happen, right? Things happen, there's delays, there's cancellations, things are closed, there's like public holidays, and you can't get all the things done that you wanted to, and otherwise, you're just setting yourself up for failure and you're setting yourself up for disappointment. So lower your expectations. Just think that you are gonna have fun. There's gonna be lots of parts of the trip that are gonna suck too, and it's gonna feel way better. Guys, we made it through the 10. How exciting. I know if you guys do these things, it's gonna make your trip so much better. And make sure you subscribe to my channel and follow me on TikTok and Instagram because that's where all my Europe summer content is every single day. And now I'm gonna go get to the 2-hour yoga class I booked in Bali, which I didn't realize was 2 hours until recently. But I'll check in with you guys soon and make sure you check back for more Europe summer videos because I promise they're gonna be more regular from now on. Bye!